Bitcoin history is exactly repeating right now because the last two times Bitcoin has exactly retested the previous high of the region. We actually formed the bottom and now we are exactly doing the same. So on today's update video, of course, I'm going to be breaking down the most important news in the market right now here regarding to, of course, the Trump tariffs, what is happening in the global economy, is the global meltdown still happening, and of course, much more important charts about Bitcoin will be getting discussed on today's update video, including the massive CME gap we're currently creating, the major downtrend we're still trading in, and of course my thesis about this consolidation phase right here. So a lot will be getting discussed on today's update video, so don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1000 likes. They'll be highly appreciated. And with that of course being said, let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So first of all, I want to be quickly telling you that yesterday we saw a slight little bounce on the stock market, on the Nasdaq, and of course Bitcoin with that also had a slight little bounce back towards the upside. And I mean, the reasons for this was of course due to the fact that Trump said some things about his tariffs, and of course there was some slight little relief in the market, and of course the chances that we were going to get an emergency rate cut were skyrocketing, and that is of course ultimately a great thing here, because what we want to be seeing is of course lower interest rates in the market. But as of right now, it doesn't really look like that we're going to get at least one rate cut in the next meeting here. So it's going to be very interesting on how this is going to be playing out here. But of course, Donald Trump wants the interest rates to come down very quickly on a rapid pace. But so far, it looks to be it is not happening still here. Then yesterday, of course, we saw that many big players like Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, he stated that this opportunity, this crash in the market in the longer run, this is going to be more of a buying opportunity than a selling opportunity. And that is of course always the case whenever we see extreme fear, especially in the stock market, it is usually corresponding with a very good buying opportunity. But then still we are getting some bad news here, because Trump right now threatens China with an additional 50% tariff. And yeah, of course, if that is going to be happening, China is probably going to be responding to the US again here, and ultimately that is going to be breaking the entire economy. And China stated that they will be fighting till the bitter end here. So there's going to be an even bigger global financial meltdown if this is going to be happening. Hopefully they're going to come with a deal here. Hopefully they can agree to something. But yeah, many people, including the CEO of BlackRock, has stated that we're probably in a recession right now here. But just like he said earlier, this is because usually whenever we're in a recession, it's a better buying opportunity than a selling opportunity. And just like that, he of course exactly stated the same here. Then also we got some news from Pakistan, who's appointing CZ as their strategic advisor on crypto. Then I quickly want to be diving in towards some very big alpha charts here, because if I am looking at Bitcoin and the last period here, the last 2 years in the market, actually we've seen Bitcoin create a very similar consolidation phase like we're currently seeing right now, right? We have seen, first of all, Bitcoin creating a high here all the way back in February 2023, and then that high flipped into support right here. And then of course the next time we tested this level, it actually marked the bottom and we moved higher. Then in 2024 we saw exactly the same. We created a high in the market, and exactly the moment we retested that high, it actually marked the exact bottom. Well, of course, at that point, the majority of the people were, of course, panicking. And now exactly the same is happening. We created the high in the market in March 2024. We right now exactly retested that high in the market. And ever since we touched that high, we have seen a major bounce from off that level. So very interesting price action, which we're currently seeing. And it is literally showing us history is repeating yet again. And then on the imminent short term, after we had the breakdown, we started to create a V-shaped recovery, which is of course a very bullish signal to create here. And then also, if I'm going to be looking at the Bitcoin CME gap, we still have of course that CME gap trading above us. And like 99% of the times, we tend to be filling it up in the same week. And if that were to be happening, Bitcoin would still see another 5.5% increasement back towards the upside. So that of course would mean something very bullish for the entire market. And if I'm right now also going to be looking at, let's say, the 2-day time frame, Bitcoin is creating some very interesting price action right now here, because let's say I remove all the drawings here, I'm looking at this chart, Bitcoin clearly creating and confirming a lower low in the market, but the RSI is creating a higher low. So we are starting to see the first final reversal signals on the market right now here. This basically shows us we're creating a bullish divergence with, of course, the momentum of the sellers is drying out here while we are still going lower, and that ultimately shows us usually these bottom signals. signals. And I mean, if you're looking at different time frames as well here, you can start to see that we're creating somewhat of here you can even call it a double bottom structure. And of course, if we're then looking at Bitcoin, we're just creating somewhat of a new consolidation phase here of somewhat of a descending triangle, which is typically speaking a bearish bias pattern. But of course, it all depends which direction we're going to be breaking out to for Bitcoin right now here. So we're going to be looking closely towards that here. And I mean, if I'm looking at Bitcoin, like I stated on yesterday's video, if we do see a confirmed break below $77,000, I do think we're going to go back all the way down towards that $72,000 region, which I mentioned many times before here. But as long as we're holding up the $76,000 to $77,000 level, I do believe we can still bounce back towards $82,000 approximately, the downward sloping trend line. And of course, then it's going to be depending, are we going to see another rejection from off this level, or are we going to see a break above it? And if I'm right now also going to be looking, of course, at the Bitcoin funding rates, we're still seeing the funding rates are extremely negative in the market, which means that basically the majority of the traders are still trading short. We're seeing extreme fear also in the market. And of course, with looking at these very interesting ranges right now here, it could make a lot of sense. We could be in for somewhat of a slight little relief back towards the upside. And of course, it is going to be very much dependent on what Trump is going to be doing, because if he's going to be imposing more tariffs on more countries, probably the market is going to panic even more and we're going to crash lower. And if he's maybe going to be postponing the tariffs, obviously we're going to get a big relief here. So we can chart the market whatever we want here, but all in all, it's going to come down towards what Donald Trump is going to be saying. But all in all, we're still trading in a downtrend. We're still creating lower lows. We're still creating lower highs. So we're trading in a downward sloping trend here. And if we can start to break this downtrend, then we can start to think about, of course, higher targets. But as long as we're not breaking this downtrend, as long as we're not breaking above the EMA ribbon, we are just still in a bearish bias trend here on the daily time frame. And that is just very crucial and important to understand right now here. On the weekly time frame, ultimately, we're still creating higher lows and higher highs. But of course, if we do break below this level right here and the upper sloping trend line, we could be in for bigger corrections towards the downside. Then still, I am in my Bitcoin and Ethereum longer term trading strategies, where I'm accumulating along the way down here while I'm selling along the way up here. And guys, if you want to be, of course, benefiting from the lower side volatility on Bitcoin right now here, don't forget to sign up an account to Pionex here, because if you sign up an account using the link below here, you will get a free $1,000 deposited towards your account here. If you sign up an account, complete KYC here. And honestly, these trading bots here, they're going to be doing very great on the long term, because if you don't understand what these trading bots are doing, basically my Bitcoin trading bot is buying along the way down here and selling along the way up here. So if Bitcoin is right now going to be bouncing back towards the upside, I'm going to be making a ton of profit because I've accumulated along the way down here. And I think this is literally one of the best strategies on how to make and maximize your profits in the cryptocurrency market here. So very great what we have been seeing over here. So honestly, it is a very great strategy to maximize your profits in the market right now here, especially during these times where, of course, the market is a little bit more volatile. Then also, if I'm going to be looking at the more interesting charts on Bitcoins, we are right now seeing a very similar structure between 2016 and 2017, where of course the RSI have basically seen a hard reset here. And yeah, back in 2017, this marked also the beginning of that major rally towards the upside. But of course, I'm very much aware that it is going to be all dependent on whether we're going to be seeing Trump being positive or whether Trump is going to be negative on the entire stock market. And yeah, ultimately, Bitcoin is creating that very interesting signal right here. I mean, I'm going to be looking closely at the support level, $74,000 to $75,000 is going to be a major level for me to be paying my attention towards. And of course, if I'm looking at Ethereum, we are right now at the logarithmic support line, the logarithmic accumulation level. And yeah, like I discussed on yesterday's video, we're all the way back towards the lows here of 2023 of literally the bear market. This is literally the entry you're getting right now, bear market levels. Ethereum has been absolutely wrecked. I started my accumulation around $2,000, like the people know if you've been following the channel for a while here. But like I said here, I have always set up multiple levels along the way down here. And that way I'm going to be maximizing my entry and of course maximizing my profit if we do see a slight little bounce here. I mean, my take profit target is $2,500 right now here with my average entry around $1,800. So of course, if Ethereum bounces back, I'm going to be making a major amount of profit here. But I do think we could at least see a bounce back here to $2,300, which is a previous range high or previous range low in the market, which would make a lot of sense in my opinion here. So I'm looking at Ethereum, very interesting in my opinion. I'm taking a slight little trade on it right now here. But anyways, guys, the market is very tricky right now here. And of course, we're just going to be waiting to see what Donald Trump is going to be doing, because, oh no, he's probably going to be sending more shockwaves through the market with the things he is going to be stating, of course, here. So this is it for me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to slap on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.